Welcome to The Explainer. So, have you ever read a paragraph that literally felt like you were driving over a series of endless speed bumps? You're reading the words, but the ideas just feel totally disjointed and clunky. And then you read something else, and the words just flow like a river, effortlessly carrying you from one thought to the very next. Well, today, our goal is to transform those clunky, disconnected sentences into that smooth, compelling narrative. We're going to uncover the hidden mechanics of writing by diving into the absolute secrets behind strong cohesion. All right, let's jump right into a little detective story. Take a read through these two descriptions of hungry cats. The first one says, when cats are hungry, they rub on your leg and demand immediate attention. They find a quiet place and sleep when they are satisfied. I mean, it's okay, but it feels kind of abrupt, right? Now listen to this version. When cats are hungry, they rub on your leg and demand immediate attention. However, when they are satisfied, they find a quiet place and sleep. I want you to really think about why that second one feels so much better to read. It is the exact same core information, but that second version just feels complete. It feels beautifully connected. That smooth feeling you just experienced, that's what we call cohesion. Cohesion is all about the connection of your ideas at the sentence level. It focuses really heavily on the grammatical aspects of your writing. Think of your individual sentences as bricks. Without anything to hold them together, they're just a pile of loose blocks. Cohesion is the grammatical mortar between your sentence bricks, literally locking them into a sturdy, continuous path for the reader. Notice how adding just one specific connecting phrase completely transforms a jarring jump into a really cohesive warning. A poorly cohesive version talks about thousands of people visiting Yosemite for the beautiful rock cliffs, and then slams right into, these rock cliffs pose a great danger from rock sides. Boom, total whiplash. But by adding a bridge, however, what they do not realize is that as beautiful as they are, these rock cliffs pose a great danger, you actually acknowledge the beauty mentioned in the previous sentence while smoothly introducing the danger in the next. It's a seamless pivot. So, the crucial takeaway here is that we can achieve this writing magic on demand. It is not just natural talent, it is pure technique. And to do it, we use a specific toolkit made up of 5 main methods: repeated words, reference words, transitional signals, synonyms, and parallelism. Let's just walk through every single one of these tools so you can start using them right away.
Secret number 1 in our toolkit is simply repeated words or ideas. Now, I know your old English teacher probably taught you to never repeat yourself, but strategic repetition builds an instant bridge between 2 sentences. Look at this. Most students are intimidated by the works of William Shakespeare. They believe Shakespeare's sonnets and plays are far too complicated. By repeating the word Shakespeare, we keep the subject totally locked in the reader's mind. It basically tells the brain, hey, we are still talking about this exact same topic.
Second, we have reference words. These are mainly your pronouns, like he, she, it, or they, which refer back to previously mentioned subjects. For instance, Mr. Thompson agreed to meet with members of the workers' union before he signed the contract. He was interested in hearing their concerns. If we didn't use reference words there, we'd have to say Mr. Thompson's name over and over again, and you'd literally sound like a broken record. Pronouns elegantly tie that second sentence back to the noun in the first without any of the clunkiness. Next up, the heavy hitters, transitional signals. These are words like however, as a result, for example, or meanwhile. Think of these words as traffic lights or road signs for the reader's brain. They come in different flavors depending on the exact relationship you want to show between your ideas. Showing a sequence? Use first or next. Want to show contrast? Drop in a despite or on the other hand. They explicitly tell your reader exactly how sentence B relates to sentence A. Tool number 4 is using synonyms. This is absolutely fantastic when you want the linking power of a repeated idea, but you really want to avoid sounding repetitive. A synonym gives you a fresh alternative word choice that kills unnecessary repetition while keeping the ideas tightly linked. For example, teenagers face an enormous amount of peer pressure. As a result, many young adults are exhibiting signs of severe stress. Notice how teenagers in sentence 1 becomes young adults in sentence 2. The idea is perfectly preserved, but the vocabulary stays fresh and engaging. And this perfectly illustrates our 5th secret, parallelism. This is all about using matching grammatical structures. When your phrases match perfectly, the reader can flow effortlessly from one action to the next. Just listen to how satisfying this sounds. Usually, the children spend the summer weekends playing ball in the park, swimming in the neighbor's pool, eating ice cream under the tree, or camping in the backyard. Playing, swimming, eating, camping, all ending in ing. That matching rhythm creates a highly cohesive sentence that is incredibly easy for the brain to process. Okay, so far we've been zoomed way in on the sentence level, right? We've been looking at the mortar between the individual bricks,
But let's zoom out for a second and ask a really crucial question. If you have cohesion, if your grammar links up perfectly, does that automatically mean you have coherence? Are they literally the same thing?
Actually, not quite. While cohesion is the grammar linking your individual sentences, coherence is the architectural blueprint, ensuring your overall argument and paragraphs actually make logical sense together. Cohesion is working at the idea level. It focuses on the rhetorical stuff, developing your arguments, organizing your thoughts, and creating an overall sense of unity in the passage. You can totally have sentences that grammatically link up perfectly, but if the overall argument makes zero logical sense, well, you have cohesion without coherence. And for great writing, you absolutely need both.
Let's see how this builds out in a practical example about industry advantages. A poorly coherent approach just lists scattered facts, research, exports, growth potential, workers need training, software updates. They're just random points thrown into a paragraph. But a highly coherent approach groups those ideas logically and adds clear rhetorical links. Phrases like, particularly in terms of strategies, and while there's a significant growth potential, it is clear that workers within this sector need training. It takes those scattered facts and weaves them into a unified, logical argument that shows exactly why the industry's growth actually requires staff training.
So to make sure you've actually achieved this level of unity in your own writing, try running your text through this super simple 3-step checklist. First, analyze it paragraph by paragraph. Do the breaks come in natural places, and does each focus on just one main aspect? Second, read it straight through from beginning to end without pausing. Does it feel complete? And third, think about your impressions right after. Can you tell immediately what the main idea of the text is? If the answer is no, you've got a coherence problem, and it's time to reorganize those ideas. Now that we've covered the micro level with cohesion and the macro level with coherence, we arrive at the final stage of the writing process, the polish. We hear two words thrown around a lot at this stage, revising and editing. But I have to ask, are they actually just two words for the exact same thing? Absolutely not. They are entirely different tasks. Revising literally means re-seeing the big picture. You are improving ideas and organization. When you revise, you're asking, does my message actually make sense? You might add, remove, or completely rearrange whole paragraphs. Editing, on the other hand, is all about the fine details. It's correcting language and mechanics, your spelling, punctuation, and grammar. When you edit, you ask, is my writing correct? Think of it this way. If revising is moving the walls of your house, editing is just polishing the light fixtures. To put it as plainly as possible, let's say you notice your conclusion introduces a totally new idea that really should have been discussed back in paragraph 2. Moving that out-of-place idea to the earlier paragraph, that is a revision. It is structural. But if you read the sentence, students was responsible for cleaning the room, and you fix that subject-verb agreement so it properly reads students were responsible, that's an edit. It's a surface-level grammatical fix. Both are crucial, but they tackle completely different layers of your writing. So we've walked through the whole toolkit. You now know that cohesion is the grammatical mortar holding your sentences together, while coherence is the logical blueprint making sure your overall message actually makes sense. And you know that to make it all shine, you have to both revise the big picture and edit the fine details. So the final question I have for you is this. Will you leave your ideas scattered across the page, just hoping the reader figures it out? Or will you use these secrets to build an undeniable, effortless connection? The tools are right there waiting for you. Go ahead and start building. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.